Pinterest is one of my favorite social media apps. I love finding different fun and cute pins and adding them to various mood boards, especially adding book pins to my book board. I love finding sweet quotes from different books. I'm basically building a virtual TBR here. Since I can spend hours and hours and hours scrolling on Pinterest, I realized, why don't I get Pinterest to recommend me what books to read next? And that is exactly what I did in this video. Fun idea to get like Pinterest to basically choose your books. So how it's gonna work is I'm just gonna open Pinterest and whatever book I get recommended I'm gonna read. However, I do want to set a little bit of rules because I do want to try and get some books off like my physical TBR on my shelves and stuff. So I think what I'm gonna do is try and find 2 books that I know I have on my shelves so I can read them, and then one of the books I can either buy or get from my library and it can be like a fresh one. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Pinterest recommends me, and hopefully they have some books that I already have on my shelves, fingers crossed. So let's just get straight into it. I'm just gonna open Pinterest now and see what comes up. There's already some books in there, but I don't know what those are, and I don't think they're fiction. But also, like I said, I'm going to try and find at least the first 2 books to be books I already have, so I'm going to keep scrolling. There's some really cute pins that I really want to pin, but I'm not going to. Oh cool, we've got another book. We've got Part of Your World, which I've already read, but that's a good start. There's another book there, but I don't know what that is. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling. Happy Place, I've also read that. I love that one. Ooh, The Nightingale. I really do want to read this. I don't have this though, so I think I'm gonna have to pause and hopefully it gets recommended to me so I can read it. But yeah, I already have it. So let's just keep scrolling. The X-Files, I don't have this one too. Damn it. Okay, Normal People, I've read Normal People. Beach Read, I've read Beach Read. Oh my gosh, there's like nothing coming up. I wonder if I should just go into a book pin. The next book pin that I get. Okay, there's like a bunch in here. This is like a shelf. I don't think I'm gonna do a shelf unless there's like a stack. If there's a stack, I might select one that I already have from the stack. Okay, there's another book. I don't know what it is though. I can't tell what that is, but I might just scroll through this pin and then see if I can find a book that I can read. But I'm not getting any in here. Is it cheating of me to go and refresh my feed? Okay, wait. We've got Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I haven't read this book, but I do have it. So that's a good start. So I think we've got our first book of the video, which is going to be Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Literally on my shelf right now. So let's get started. You guys in a little bit since I started reading Just for the Summer. I've actually finished the book. In the clip that I filmed talking about like how I felt about the book and stuff, and I finished recording, ended up being in slow-mo. Don't know how that happened, so I am going to come back and rehash all those things that I said in that little clip. I didn't end up editing this yet, but I'm really hoping that the next clip that I have of me actually selecting the next book from Pinterest is all good, because I've actually started reading that one already and I have a few updates to like talk about that one. But anyway, I am going to talk about Just for the Summer. I literally have a note in my notes app that I can kind of refer to because I had a few things that I like wrote down as I was reading. This book was just super bingeable, guys. Like I literally binged this pretty much in like a day and a bit. I started this on Sunday, I think, and then I went to work on Monday. I literally downloaded it on my Kindle because I wanted to read it on the train to work. And then when I was at work, I was like, I am going to audiobook this because I couldn't stop thinking about the book and what was going on and what I was up to. And so I ended up finishing it pretty much almost on audiobook, and then on the way home I finished it on my Kindle. And let me just say, I feel like this book was a roller coaster. there was just so many things happening in this book, and it just kept you so engaged because there were so many things happening. And honestly, there's so many things that I wish they explored more. So first things first, I wrote down Justin is so down bad, and I want to say, like, he is literally so down bad. Like, there is like a point in the book when they're like going on a date, and he makes like a whole survey monkey kind of thing for her to like pick out different options for things that they can do on their date, or what they want to eat and like what they want to wear. Who does that? Literally, who does that? I do know that Abby Jimenez writes her men very, very well. She's like one of my favorite authors, so I know for a fact that she would have written Justin really well. If you don't know what this book is about, or if I did not mention it already, this book follows Emma and Justin, where they basically have this kind of thing where they think the people they date end up finding like their soulmate or the one right after they break up with Emma and Justin. But essentially they both think they have this curse, and they meet each other through like a Reddit post, which is super random and a honestly kind of interesting way to have like a meet cute. And they decide to then date each other, or like fake date each other, to try and get rid of this curse and hope that the next person they date is the one for them. How their friendship really begins. But they both have a lot going on. Like, she's got some issues with her mom. Her mom's a bit of a character, and he also has issues with his family. Things are happening with his mom and his younger siblings, and so there's like a lot going on in like both of their worlds. And when they're doing like the dating thing, they're becoming friends, and then there's like feelings, and it's just like a lot. But it's a very bingeable kind of plot. I feel like it's like there's just so much going on, you just kind of want to know answers at all times. Like, it was interesting with Emma because I feel like there are some parts of her character that like I empathized with, and I felt bad for her because of the situations with her mom. Her mom is just not someone who is very present in her daughter's life, and is very, I don't know what the word is, like a bit of a flighty person, and doesn't really own up to any of the mistakes that she's made. And in those moments, like, I felt so bad for Emma and like what she was going through, what she was feeling. But then I feel like almost instantly she would basically come to the defense of her mom. Like, she could see what her mom was doing wasn't right, and she would be having this internal monologue talking about like kind of having like realization about her mom, or like realizing her mom doesn't care, etc, etc. And then like 2 seconds later, as soon as someone's like, oh, why would your mom be doing that, like, she was just so defensive. And I understand to an extent, but I just felt like it happened too long in the book. I think I just got very frustrated towards the end because I felt like she just kept making excuses. I feel like that's where kind of like the disconnect comes from. Yeah, 3.5 stars for this one. I'm gonna roll the clip of me choosing the next book from Pinterest, and yes, I'm wearing the same jumper. Don't come for me, I've just been living in this jumper. Okay, I've opened Pinterest, so let's hope we find a book that is already on my shelf. I might just click into one of the book pins. I don't have any of these. Well, I have Funny Story, but I've already read it, and I think the other one's a BK Borison book that I don't have, and I think that looks like The X-Files, which I also don't have. So we're gonna scroll through the pin and just see if I can find a book that's on my shelf, so we can have that as a book to read next. Got Happy Place, I've already read it. Haunting Adeline, don't have it. Don't have Journey to the River. Journey in the River Sea, is that what that says? I don't know. Promise Me Sunshine, I don't have it, but I really want to read that one actually. I might hope that that comes up next when I get to buy or get a book from the library. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Wedding People, I don't have. Happy Medium, don't have. First Time Caller, I don't have. Wait, I think I missed a pin. Okay, Divine Rivals. I actually have Divine Rivals, I'm pretty sure. So I think Divine Rivals is going to be our next pick. All I think I know is that the female character is writing letters to her brother, but it doesn't go to her brother, it goes to this guy that she works with, that she has like a rivalry. That's kind of all I know about it, so that's gonna be our next read. I've heard really good things, that it's like a very sweet romance. So yeah, let's go get it on my shelf. Divine Rivals, and I have been wanting to read this for so long. It's just been on my shelf for a very long time, and I'm so glad that I finally got a chance to read it. I know this is a beloved book for so many people, so I'm very keen to read this. All I knew going into this one was that there was a magical typewriter, there is some sort of war going on, and the main character, or the female main character, Iris, is meant to send letters to someone, but they end up with the male main character, Roman. I'm already about 41%, I think, and so far I am enjoying it. For the letters are really sweet and stuff. I really love Iris's character. I feel like she's really strong. She's gone through a lot in her life, with her brother being at war and things happening at home and her job. Anyway, so far the letters are going good. So far I'm enjoying it, but I'll catch you guys when I have more updates to give. Hello guys, I finished Divine Rivals. I have a few things about this book that I thought I would talk about. I feel like I'm the only person in the entire world that didn't absolutely love this book. I don't feel like the world building was like done very well. Like, it was very simple. I feel like it wasn't very clear. I think that initially like just confused me going into it, because I actually had to kind of look up like what era or like what I was reading or what the world was gonna look like and stuff. And I feel like the gods and the magical elements were really cool, and I wish we got to like explore that a little bit more. And like I still feel that, like, especially towards the end, it's just really confusing, because they're talking about this war that's happening and we kind of know why it's happening, like what happened between the gods to cause this war. But I feel like, I don't know, I wanted to know more about the strategy between like the mortals and the gods, and like how the gods were using, you know, random citizens to partake in the war. How does a normal human really like do anything in a war that's between gods? Like, how are we fighting, and like how like are guns like helping? Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like it was more like a romance than a fantasy or anything like that. Like, it was there, it was in the background, but I feel like it was more about the romance. I will say that I loved Iris and Roman's relationship. It was really sweet, and you could tell that they were very purely in love. Like, it was just a very sweet romance. I again would not really say they're enemies to lovers. I don't know why it's really marketed like that. Divine Rivals, it just wasn't for me. I think it just didn't hit, but I'm glad I finally read it, because it's been on my shelf for such a long time. So that being said, I'm giving this 3 stars. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't really what I expected. I feel like it was kind of overhyped, to be honest. But anyway, that is good. I'm glad I got it off my shelf. I'm glad I read it, and I'm glad I gave it a go, because it has been something that's been on my TBR for such a long time. Now that with that done, it means we get to choose our 3rd book. I'm really excited to see what Pinterest will come through with this time. Okay, I'm gonna just start screen recording. Let's open Pinterest. Perfect. Okay, we already have a book here. The Nightingale. Guys, I literally said I wanted to read The Nightingale. Is it time? So I'm reading The Nightingale next. I'm actually really excited. I haven't read like a historical fiction ever, so I am really curious to see how it'll go. And clearly there's a lot of people who find it very emotional and like, you know, are crying over it, and I really love that. The most recent book that I read that made me cry was A Man Called Ove, and that was an easy 5 stars. Like, I still think about Ove to this day. Like, he was so sweet, and like in his own way he was sweet. And anyway, I'm not gonna go into that book right now, but that book made me cry at the end. I love a book when it makes me cry. I don't know why. So yeah, we're gonna go pick up The Nightingale. So let's go. Nightingale. As you would have seen, I started it last night and went and picked it up from Big W, and I'm so glad that I got recommended this book through Pinterest, and that was a pin that I chose because I have been wanting to read this, as you guys know, and it's just actually like lived up to my expectations, if not more. Like, so far I knew that this book was going to bring out a lot of emotions in me, and I think that's exactly what this book does for anyone. It is a very feeling heavy book, and you feel very immersed into the world and you feel very connected to the characters kind of straight away, because you can see the kind of like struggles that they're going through. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, but I just feel like Kristen Hanna's writing is just so beautiful, but it's also pretty simple, and like you can just fully immerse yourself in the timeline that she's discussing and talking about. Like you fully immerse yourself into it. Like there was a point last night that I had to put the book down because I was getting frustrated and angry on behalf of like the characters, and like I just haven't felt that in a long time. And I don't know, I'm just like really captivated by what's happening. And I don't know, I think it's just really interesting because these are sort of things that people have gone through. Like obviously this is a historical fiction, and most likely there's been situations where something like this has happened to someone, and I'm only like 90 pages in, so I don't know what's happening in the rest of the book, but like so far just knowing the things that like the characters are going through, or like that they're having to accommodate for and things like that, it just feels different knowing that this is something that someone has actually gone through in their life, and then that there's people alive who still tell the tale of like things that they have gone through in that time period, in that war. I don't know, it's just a really beautiful book so far. And basically it follows two sisters, Vian, I think I'm pronouncing that right, and Isabel. They're both pretty different. They both have different priorities right now. They both live in France, and Isabel is more so a person who's like trying to find her purpose in a way. Like she wants to go out and she wants to help people during the war, whereas her older sister Vian is more so just wants to do the right thing. She's going to listen to the rules, she's going to obey what's going on because she just wants to keep her daughter safe and wait for her husband to return, who's out fighting at war. And that's kind of her whole priority, is just making sure her daughter is safe. And I think it's interesting to see like the two different sides of it, because I think it's easy to like kind of get lost in like, obviously war is bad, like the whole like logical thing is to just retaliate and stuff, but until you're in that situation, until you have someone else to protect, what do? Do you rock the boat and do things that could harm you and your daughter, or do you just play along and just wait for someone to come, like, you know, your loved one to return? And I don't know, like it's just a very interesting perspective. And yeah, they just are on like kind of different ends. They have their own sort of trauma in their upbringing, and it kind of has shaped who they are. Like it's just manifested in two different ways, which is really interesting to see, and how that's playing out during this like war timeline. And yeah, like so far it's just really beautifully written. I thought I would read you the first line because I feel like the first line pretty much hooked me straight away. And if you haven't read the book and you're on the fence of reading the book, I think you should read the book based on the first line. So I'm just going to read it out to you. If I have learned anything in this long life of mine, it is this: in love we find out who we want to be, in war we find out who we are. I feel like it's like the perfect first line. It literally delves into what the book is going to be about, and I feel like at the start you might read it and you might be like, what? And I'm already only 90 pages in. I want to tell you that that already makes sense to me. In love you find out who you want to be, in war you will find out who you actually are. I'm going to keep reading, and I'll come back if I have more updates. Near my place. I'm excited to use it. Apparently it smells like bum bum cream. Wait, not bum bum cream, bum bum spray, like the Brazilian bum bum soda de janeiro one. I literally have that, and I was like, wait, it would be amazing if my room smelled like this. So we're gonna burn this candle now. Look how pretty this candle is. Literally gorgeous, and I love that it's made from someone in my local community and smells delicious. So I'm gonna burn this while I read in my cozy little corner. Myself a little tea. I'm having a peppermint tea, which I actually don't think I've ever had a peppermint tea, but my boyfriend said he's always had it when he was like living at home, and I don't know, I really got inspired and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try out a peppermint tea. So far so good. Anyway, I've been reading The Nightingale by Kristen Hannah. It has been such a, I don't know how to explain it. I've just been like so engrossed into the story, and I literally have not been able to put this book down. It's all I think about. It's all I want to read. Last night before going to bed, I read and I literally wept. Well, not wept, I sobbed, to be honest. It was a really sad scene. I knew it was coming because there was a lot of tension building up, and obviously, like I said, this is set in World War II. We know what happens in World War II. We know like the things that were progressing at the time, but they didn't really know, and like knowing that things were about to happen and like things were, like I said, the tensions were really high. Something really sad happened and I literally cried. Like I knew it was coming. I literally turned to my boyfriend and said, I'm scared, like something's about to happen. And then pretty much like the next few pages it happened, and I literally couldn't stop crying. It was so sad, and it's just so heartbreaking to read. With that, I'm going to continue reading, and I'm going to keep drinking my tea, and yeah, I'll come back if I have any thoughts or anything else. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to keep reading. Hello guys, I finished reading The Nightingale, and let me just say, I feel like this book literally ruined me, actually devastated me. I literally was crying for the last few chapters, like sobbing. There was one part specifically, things were getting better, and then something really heartbreaking happens, and I think that's like when I lost it. Like I was fully sobbing. I didn't expect it, and I hated that it happened, but it made sense that it happened. But also like it was just so raw, and it just was, yeah, too much. I was literally sobbing. I don't even know what to say. I feel like Kristen Hannah really brought out so many emotions to me, and I really enjoyed reading the book, and it was just like so compelling. I love the characters, they were so strong, and I love how it highlighted women in the war and things that they were doing, because I feel like, yeah, it's so easy to overlook the woman's role in situations like these and circumstances like that. And it was just a really incredible way to honor all the women who sacrificed so much and did so much during that time, that period of war. And yeah, it was so beautifully done. I'm really glad that I finally read this, because it's been on my TBR for a while, like my mental TBR, and I really am glad that I picked it up and tried something different, tried something new, and it did not disappoint. It's a really good book, and I definitely want to pick up a few more of her books. And this is kind of her specialty, her niche, doing like historical fiction with women's stories, and I think that's so incredible. So definitely will be checking out more of her books. I think I'm gonna have to give this book 5 stars, just knowing how much I cried over the characters, how much I loved it. I have to give it 5 stars. And yeah, I'm so glad that I found a 5-star read so quickly. Like now it feels like it's setting a really good tone for this year for like books and reading. So yeah, this is definitely a 5-star for me. It's just a really raw, emotional story. I'm really glad that I unlocked a new genre and a new author to read. Just to wrap it all up, these are the books I read in this video. Just for Summer by Abby Jimenez, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and The Nightingale by Kristen Hannah. I really enjoyed this reading vlog. I actually really enjoyed just kind of stepping out of my comfort zone, finding some new reads, and also ticking off some books off my physical TBR. So I'm really glad that I did this, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It would mean so much to me. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. I love you, and yeah, that's it. See ya.